Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I want to talk about something we all know a little too well, fear. For some of us, fear is an old friend. For others, it's an uninvited guest that shows up at the worst possible times. But here's what I've learned after years of trying to outrun it, outsmart it, or just ignore it altogether. Fear isn't going anywhere. So we've got to find a way to live with it, even let it work for us. Fear is as much a part of life as joy, as hope, as love. It's woven into the very fabric of our experiences, from the first steps we take as children to the bold moves we make as adults. Fear is universal. Everyone, no matter how confident or successful they may seem, knows what it means to feel afraid. But the problem isn't the fear itself, it's what we choose to do with it. Fear doesn't have to be an obstacle. Instead, it can be a teacher, a guide, something that drives us to dig deeper into who we really are and what we're truly capable of. Imagine fear not as an enemy, but as an opportunity. When we face fear, we have a chance to understand ourselves better, to learn about our strengths and weaknesses, and to find out what truly matters to us. Running from fear only leaves us more in its power. Every time we avoid something because we're afraid, we allow that fear to grow, to take up more space in our minds and our lives. But when we stop and look at what's frightening us, when we face it head on, we often find that the fear isn't as big as we thought. It might even be something we can handle, something we can work through step by step. Facing fear doesn't mean we suddenly stop being afraid. It doesn't mean that we're not going to feel nervous or anxious or uncertain, but facing it gives us a new kind of strength. It shows us that we're not defined by our fears, we're defined by our response to them. Each time we confront something that scares us, we build resilience, we grow a little tougher, a little braver. We develop the courage to keep going even when things get difficult, to push forward, even when there's no guarantee of success. And that's the real victory, not in never feeling fear, but in learning to walk with it, to carry it with us, and to keep moving forward regardless. When we understand that fear is natural, that it's a part of being human, we can let go of the shame or guilt we sometimes feel about it. There's no weakness in being afraid. The strength comes in confronting that fear, in refusing to let it hold us back. We can ask ourselves, what is this fear really about? What am I afraid will happen? When we start asking questions, we often find that our fears are based on assumptions or doubts that we can address. The goal isn't to eliminate fear from our lives. The goal is to accept it, to understand it, and to use it as a stepping stone. When we embrace our fears, they lose their power over us. We can stand up, take a deep breath, and say, I see you, fear, but you're not stopping me. In that moment, we transform fear from a roadblock into a powerful tool for growth. Fear often has a reputation as something to avoid, something that paralyzes us and holds us back. But fear can also be a powerful source of motivation if we learn to channel it in the right way. Fear, when understood and directed, has the potential to become fuel for achieving our goals, pushing us beyond our comfort zones and helping us discover our hidden strengths. Rather than something to resist, fear can become a source of energy, a force that drives us forward when we're feeling uncertain or doubting ourselves. When we feel fear, it's often a signal that we're on the edge of something important, something meaningful. Fear doesn't appear when we're treading familiar ground or staying where it's safe. It shows up when we're stretching, when we're moving towards something unknown. That feeling in our gut, that fast beating heart, it's a sign that we're about to do something that matters. By acknowledging fear as a signpost rather than a stop sign, we can start to see it as a guide pointing us in the direction of growth and new possibilities. Fear, when we choose to listen to it in a constructive way, can be a motivator that drives us to work harder, to prepare more thoroughly, to go the extra mile. For instance, the fear of failure can push us to put in the extra effort, to be more diligent and focused. The fear of missing out on an opportunity can prompt us to seize the moment, to take action instead of letting it slip by. Fear keeps us alert and mindful, pushing us to tap into resources we didn't even know we had. When we reframe fear as energy, we can use it to create momentum. Channeling fear effectively also requires a mindset shift. Instead of seeing it as a wall in our way, we can start to think of it as a wave we can ride. This shift means understanding that fear is normal and natural, a sign that we're human, that we care, and that we're reaching for something more. It's about asking ourselves, how can I use this feeling to push myself forward? We can turn that anxious energy into determination, using it as a reminder of what we stand to gain by pushing through. Using fear as fuel doesn't mean recklessness, it means harnessing that emotion and directing it with intention. We can transform fear from a barrier into a tool that motivates us to go further, to be stronger, to achieve more. It's about learning to work with fear rather than letting it control us. By embracing it, channeling it, and using it as a source of power, we can take our dreams and ambitions to new heights. The truth is, fear doesn't have to stop us. When used wisely, it can push us into our purpose, drive us to excel, and help us grow in ways we never thought possible. In the journey toward growth and achievement, it's easy to get caught up in the end goal, constantly looking ahead and focusing on what still lies before us. But in doing so, we often overlook the importance of celebrating every victory along the way, no matter how small. Recognizing and honoring each step forward, each moment of progress is vital, because every small win is a triumph over fear, self-doubt, and the challenges we faced. It's in these small victories that we find the encouragement and motivation to keep moving forward. Each step we take toward a goal, each little victory represents our resilience and courage. It's proof that we're capable of more than we thought, and that we can make progress, even when the journey feels long and challenging. Celebrating these moments helps us remember that growth isn't always about the big, dramatic changes. Often it's the steady, gradual progress that leads us to lasting transformation. By pausing to appreciate what we've accomplished, we remind ourselves that we are moving forward, that our efforts matter, and that we're making real strides, one step at a time. Celebrating victories doesn't have to mean grand gestures or public recognition. Sometimes it's as simple as taking a moment to acknowledge what we've done, to give ourselves a quiet pat on the back. It's about creating a habit of gratitude for our own efforts, training ourselves to see the positives and focus on our strengths. Each victory, no matter how small, builds confidence. It reminds us that we're capable of facing the next challenge because we've already overcome so many. These celebrations act as fuel for the road ahead, reinforcing that every little win brings us closer to where we want to be. There's power in appreciating each victory. It shifts our mindset from focusing on what's lacking or what's still to come, to valuing the present and all we've achieved so far. When we celebrate our victories, we're not just honoring our progress, we're strengthening our resilience. We're showing ourselves that we're strong enough to handle whatever comes next. Celebrating teaches us to trust the process and to enjoy the journey instead of rushing toward the destination. It becomes a practice of self-respect and self-acknowledgement, allowing us to see the value in our own hard work. Life is a series of steps, and each step forward is something worth recognizing. When we take time to celebrate, we're saying to ourselves, I am proud of what I've done. This mindset of celebration creates a positive cycle of motivation and confidence. It keeps us focused, hopeful, and energized, especially when the path gets tough. Remember, every small victory is a testament to our strength, our dedication, and our courage to keep going. Celebrating these moments turns the journey into something beautiful and rewarding, reminding us that each win, no matter how small, is an important milestone worth cherishing. As we come to the end of this journey together, let's remember one thing: we are stronger than our fears. Each of us has faced moments of doubt, of uncertainty, of hesitation. But it's in those moments that we find our greatest strength. When we embrace fear instead of running from it, when we take small, brave steps toward our dreams, and when we use that fear as fuel to keep pushing forward, we're tapping into something powerful within us. And as we move forward, let's not forget to celebrate every victory, every single step forward, no matter how small. These moments are proof of our resilience, our courage, and our commitment to growth. They remind us that progress is real, that we're moving forward even when the path is hard to see. So let's face each day with a renewed sense of purpose. Let's walk toward our goals with the knowledge that fear doesn't define us, our response to it does. Together, we can build lives filled with purpose, driven not by the absence of fear, but by the courage to keep moving forward in its presence. So whatever that thing is that's been holding you back, don't let it stop you. Face it, take those small, brave steps, use it as fuel. And don't forget to celebrate every victory. Because at the end of the day, it's not about being fearless, it's about being willing to keep going, even when fear is right there with you. Thank you.